Hello and welcome to Biosphere 2 Live. My name is John Adams, and today I'm going to talk to you about our amazing rainforest that we have inside this remarkable facility. So it's kind of odd to think about an equatorial rainforest here in southern Arizona, but that's exactly what the original designers and creators of Biosphere 2 created and constructed here. The rainforest here is approximately 144 feet on a side and 91 feet tall at its tallest point. So that's about a half acre in size. What you can't see, and what's really remarkable, is complete with a stream, a waterfall. There's a central mountain out of sculpted concrete that resembles or looks like rock. In fact, this structure is very realistic. It has moss growing over it. And then you can see the area was actually heavily vegetated with a number of different plants inside the system. And so one of the things we often get asked is, well, how many plants are inside Biosphere 2's rainforest? And so originally there were over 400 species planted in this system. Now today, we just recently had a grad student from the University of Arizona who finished up surveying, and that number is just a little bit over 90 species. Now everybody sort of takes a step back and goes, that's a huge loss. You know, what is happening with the system? Well, that was exactly what was anticipated. And in fact, the reason that they packed in so many different species in this rainforest was specifically to see what would happen, to see actually which species were going to survive, but also the hope would be is at the end of this self-organization period, we would still have a very diverse community, which is what we feel we have today. Now, one of the other questions we get asked, and this gives me a good moment to mention that if you do have questions that I'm not answering or covering and you've always wanted to ask, please go ahead and put them forward. I've got my colleague Katie Morgan and Jason who are monitoring the feed. They'll go ahead and relay those questions to me, and I'm happy to answer them as we go through. If by chance we don't get an opportunity to answer your question, we will be responding to comments, and we will also provide any critical links that we think will help you further understand Biosphere. So the species that were put in here were selected primarily from the New World tropics, so that area around the Amazon basin there in South America. Additionally, what they did put in is they packed in as many different types of insects that they could get, not only those that were found sort of regionally, but also those that were found locally here. There were a few reptiles and amphibians, and today there are still remnants of those. Every now and then, occasionally, we will see a tree frog in here. We might see a lizard, and it's called an alligator lizard. There are spiders if you look around. Now, if you dig in the soil, you're going to find a really diverse community of organisms. You'll find roundworms and flatworms. You'll find some millipedes. If you come in here at night, and oftentimes this gives people sort of the creepy crawlies or the chills, because this entire place is run with and run by roaches. And so we have a number of different roaches. And you go, well, why did they put roaches inside? Well, they put roaches inside because they are critical in helping to break down material and biomass. One of the things for this rainforest that we don't do is we don't come in and fertilize it. So we are dependent upon the system naturally recycling the nutrients back into the soil for the plants to take up, like those that I'm standing here in front of. Now, when you think about Biosphere 2 and its original history, we hear so much about some of the challenges that our original group faced. And one of those big challenges was decreasing oxygen, increasing carbon dioxide. Well, the rainforest here inside Biosphere 2 was one of the big culprits of this. And what I mean by that is the soils that I'm standing on and that these plants are growing in, they did not have the opportunity to go down to the Amazon basin and collect them. Soil scientists said, well, if you can't go there, maybe you go to Georgia and bring over, and trucks, or actually come by train, bring those soils here. They couldn't do that. So what they had to do, they had to use local amendments. They had to blend them with the best of their knowledge, using a lot of the scientific data and scientific experts in these areas to create this rainforest soil. They did a great job. They created a very rich material, and that material was designed to support this intensive growth of plants that they envisioned was going to take place and happen. But what it also did is it provided a great environment for microbes. It was extremely rich, and therefore these microbes flourished. And in fact, what ended up happening is the microbes would take in oxygen, they would give off CO2. And that pace was much faster than these plants could in turn take in carbon dioxide and conversely split water and give off oxygen, so that there would be a balance. And so the soils in particular in the rainforest and also the agricultural areas of Biosphere, contributed heavily to this atmospheric imbalance that was experienced. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, my name is John Adams. I'm Deputy Director here at Biosphere 2, and today we are coming to you live from inside Biosphere 2's rainforest. Now, we've done some remarkable research inside Biosphere 2 rainforest, and I hope that you will join us here in the coming weeks, because we are going to hear from our research team as well as the managers who run this system inside. Now, when you look around Biosphere 2's rainforest, again, one of the things that people notice is there's not a lot of sort of animal life. So you're not going to see a jaguar coming through the lower floor. You're not going to see monkeys traversing the canopy inside this system. Those types of large vertebrates would have been very difficult, if not impossible, for that original group to put inside here. What they wanted to do is create a system that would be self-sustaining and would not necessarily need a lot of help from those who were originally managing the system, and therefore why we don't have large mammals or even other large vertebrates in the system. Now, most of the plants that I'm standing in and among, they came in at about 10 to 12 feet, maybe 15 feet in height. We have now plants that are touching the very top reaches of Biosphere. So they're in excess or close to 90 feet tall. We've got them spaced throughout, but we have had a very dramatic loss in those species. And one of the things that's very interesting is that this is probably the hottest rainforest that you're ever going to be in. And that's allowed our researchers to do some interesting research, but also is why we believe that some of the species that were originally put in here, so some of these orchids and bromeliads that require very narrow temperature and very strict humidity ranges, did not survive. But the plants that we do see surviving, they emit certain compounds that give them some adaptive characteristics and traits to allow them to deal with warmer temperatures. And so our research team, in part, is studying, and you're going to studying these traits, and you're going to hear more from them in the future. So this about wraps up the presentation today, but what I want to do is, again, if there's any questions out there, this will be a great opportunity to take them. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks. Next week, please be on the lookout for our Instagram and our Facebook and our Twitter posts. We will let you know when our rainforest manager, Jason, will presenting from inside here. And what he's going to do is describe what it actually takes to manage and run a rainforest inside of the closed environment of Biosphere 2, and really talk about some of the unique traits of the plants that we have inside. If you're interested in learning more about Biosphere 2, we have a great open course, and it's called a MOOC, a massive online course that you're more than welcome to take. We will provide a link for you to click on. And then if you'd really like to get an in-depth understanding of Biosphere 2's rainforest, I encourage all of you to participate in our researchers tour. So the 20th of this month, which is a Saturday at 2 p.m., we offer a rainforest researchers tour. It's going to be led by Dr. Joost van Haren, and he is going to talk to you about all the different aspects of Biosphere 2's rainforest, what it took to create it, what we have today, and how we're going to be using it from a research perspective to better understand the changes that we're seeing in the rainforest around the world. And that will also, we will also provide a link on our website for you to view. So again, thank you very much. Again, my name is John Adams, and thank you for participating in Biosphere Live.